Well, we're here for another week. Unfortunately, this week has made for absolute chaos in the standings. So let's try to get through this.
Who's the shitter now?
It's still you. You still have 2 wins. Honestly, a 140 point week. Pretty good. I think what fourth highest in the league, third hi-
Third.
third highest in the league. Um,
Back-to-back weeks, the third highest scoring team loses.
Mariota is solid. I'll take 12 points as down. You know, Started off fine and then they just plateaued. Derrick Henry getting to be that consistent 15 to 20 point guy ever since week three. Um, that's been good. I mean, the same story as my team all year. Najee and Deontay just not quite cutting it right now.
They're
Um,
they're startable, but they're not they're
yeah,
not
they're
this like
they're your
super
fringe
studs they
guy,
were in the past. Yeah.
right? Chase, had a big week, but now he's done for 4 to 6 weeks. Sounds like Schultz at least gave me 10 points. Wandale finally healthy. Apparently, if he didn't get hit in the nuts, might have done more, but apparently that ends your day or something.
Is that
Yeah,
what happened?
yeah, that's pretty much what happened. He got hit in the nuts going into this like right before halftime, and then basically wasn't really the same the rest of the game. Higgins was okay. Stevenson, I like to see this. Screw you, Damian Harris sit on the bench, get traded, do anything. Ramondre Stevenson, season baby. So I mean, a solid week. Not a ton I could have really done there. Brissett didn't do much. Melvin Gordon can be cut. Damian Harris didn't do much. We'll see if he gets more into it as he gets brought back in. But Woods bad. Elijah Moore happened. David Bell nothing. Cade Otton got 4 for 64. Um, I think he got drafted by Tyler or signed for cheap for Tyler. So I mean, there's probably potential there. Maybe Isaiah Likely, since we recorded this on a Thursday night, know that he had a pretty good game with Andrews getting hurt mid-game, so chance to do something if he gets hurt. But all in all, not a
So
bad week. It just didn't, not the right week for me.
likely upside, Cade Otton has 2 receptions for 15 yards tonight. So
And a touchdown called back. Don't forget that one.
I missed that part.
Yep,
But
fuckers held. Um, Kenny's team, 18-point Herbert. It was pretty ugly there for a while, but as I kept telling you, it's gonna be garbage time bullshit points that came through. Brees Hall had the 70, 60 some yard run, and then is done for the year. So yay, but get fucked.
my running back sacrifices for every win that I've got. It's not
JT,
encouraging.
mediocre game. We'll see what he this means for him with Matt Ryan getting benched going forward. Could be good, could be bad. Uh, I wish you luck in this gamble.
Having seen the stats for those games, it really can't get much worse. Like they're like the worst offense in the NFL, right?
I can't wait for
Not
karma to
far off.
bite you in the ass and
It
Jonathan
can't
Taylor turns into Najee Harris, and then I just get to laugh at you.
it
So
it can't get much worse. You see, the difference is like I have Etienne, man. Etienne's gonna be the guy.
so Olave,
Just not
good
against
game,
Denver.
7 for 100, pretty good. Cooper, 3 for 74. Gonna hope he gets a few more receptions and not relying on a 25 yard per catch. Kittle, his game of the year so far with 21. Pittman,
National tight end day, man.
Yoger
Just
Walker with the garbage 74-yard touchdown to save you. Tua,
I only needed
okay,
30 yards of it. It's fine.
and the touchdown, yeah.
I
So
didn't need the touchdown. I
pretty
just needed 30
pretty
yards.
fortunate you get two highly unlikely plays in the same week against me, but yeah, Etienne, hopefully steps up for you now that Robinson's gone. Although effectively he's been gone for a couple weeks now, I think. So you have at least a fill in there. Um,
He's officially gone, but like
he's been
uh
unofficially gone for a couple weeks.
it's been like unofficial where like no one knew last week that Robinson was going to get 1 target and no carries. So like you
Right.
didn't know it ahead of time where you could start off of it. It's just the game goes and it's all Etienne and you're like, "Oh, that would have been nice." But
So I mean Garrett Wilson, as the guy with Elijah Moore, yeah, that shitty. Jefferson, you get back next week. DK a little banged up, but I don't know what DK is worth anymore, anyways. So I mean, things looked up for this one week. We'll see what next week brings for you coming to the trade deadline. So Moving on. Oh God.
It's better than the scenario where I could have been 3 games back in week 7. So we
We
avoided
got
that.
so we got James and Tyler. Kind of shitter bowl week here. Lamar with only 10 was kind of rough. Fournette not doing the Fournette things of years past. McCaffrey. No one expected him to do much. On 2 games of knowing a playbook and playing, so I was expected. But dear God, 0 points from your two wide receivers who both played. Uh, that ain't good. That's how you lose a week right there. Except you won. Evan Ingram, okay. Kareem Hunt, meh. Josh Jacobs, savior this year apparently. It's only taken 3 years. Geno, down game by Geno standards, which is really weird to say. Daniel Jones, still
The
happening
the Raiders just decided to rest Josh Jacobs for 2 seasons.
apparently.
Like, here, we're gonna use your rookie year. We're gonna give you 2 years off, and now you can carry the ball again.
So I mean, T. Wells needed to take advantage. There's no Diggs, no Brown. Um, N'Keal Airy only put up 2.4 points. You really got to take advantage of those weeks when that's on your bench. Just kidding. I don't know why he still owns half these players. Um, still don't. I'm
Nikhil
gonna keep
Harry,
saying it.
technically, we were ragging on Nikhil Harry. I actually saw he was out for like this year, off coming off an injury. So technically, that was his first game like off the injury list for the season.
He's been awful for 3 years. He's off. He's just bad. So he didn't get it done. I mean, so James sneaks out a win. I mean, there's always some luck involved to set the top of the standings. I should know. Um, T. Wells, Tannehill gets hurt. Well, bad game and gets hurt. So that's not great. Damian Pierce looking like a really nice pick. That's just a solid guy for him. Kenyon Drake, yeah, that that happened. Brandon Cooks, not the solid wide receiver two that he has been historically. Ooh, got 48. Yeah, that ain't good.
If
Uh,
the rumored like potential trades happen, Brandon Cooks could become very good very quick.
yep.
It was
Debo,
back to the Rams, the Packers, or the Chiefs, but I'm gonna assume the Chiefs isn't gonna happen with the Tony trade.
who knows? Once they find out Tony doesn't know how to understand the playbook, they might change their mind. So, I mean, Debo's not been the Debo of old. I'm glad I'm not paying him $90 for the year for this
He's
production.
also kind of expected to be out this week.
Yeah, he's banged up, but he hasn't been the same. Kelsey with a down week at 15 points. Jamal Williams, not Dallas defense is tough. You're hoping for a little bit more. Curtis Samuel did enough. Russell
For
Wilson.
for reference, Travis Kelsey's down week, he was still the third highest scoring tight end in fantasy that week,
Yup.
to Kittle and then Jawan Johnson, who had 2 touchdowns. So
But hey,
rough down week.
he can look forward to next week. Russell Wilson's gonna be back. Can ride Latavius Murray. I mean, he gets Sanders back. Just lost Dobbins to
Mhm.
IR, which hurts. Chuba Hubbard's in a walking boot. That's probably not a great sign.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
That Panthers offense actually did very well for just trading their best player against what's normally one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So
At some point,
optimism.
he's gonna get Mike Thomas back. That'll help. Sometime.
Mhm.
Robbie Anderson, as he gets more acquainted down in Arizona, might help. Um, Zay Jones, Zay Jones, I guess. He's career year in one game because that probably doubled his overall points.
There's some optimism on the bench there where he's got like ticky tack injuries, not like, hey, half of my team's on IR. You've got a couple people that are kind of coming back that can help you a
Yeah,
little bit.
one of them's still Russell Wilson, and I don't know if that's gonna help you. We'll find out. I mean, we move on to Tyler and Luke. Really a spot where I thought a win by Tyler keeps him, right there neck and neck, solidifies him going for it this year, in my opinion, at 5-2. Could have solidified Luke Stelling this year at 2-5, and instead, Luke pulls it out and we got a mess. So Brady doesn't do much again. Barkley with another solid 17-point week, but the downside that James Robinson, who would have thought he gets no carries and one target, as you said earlier,
Mhm.
Waddle, they're down against Pittsburgh, which I didn't realize that's possible. Um, Lamb kind of
I mean,
mediocre against Detroit.
they led that whole game.
Yeah, but I still feel like people score more than that against Pittsburgh, but that's just me.
They scored like 13 points on their first 3 drives and then just forgot how to move the football. It was weird.
Lamb somehow not doing a great. Not, I mean, 4 for 6 for 70. Uh, Not bad, but
Detroit's
it's
run
Detroit,
defense is
so
terrible, and they just got run over, so they didn't
that
have to
was
throw. Yeah.
Hawkinson did Hawkinson things, mediocre. Lazard, whatever. Not, I mean, that offense is terrible right now. Drake London, yeah, that still struggling. The common 15-point Aaron Rodgers week, as we all know to expect out Aaron Rodgers now. But I mean, Heineke, at least decent pickup. He'll get you some points. But Mac Jones, get benched. Wilson's kind of not really there. But I mean, if he's looking to go for it, you need waiting for Swift to come back here in this next week or so. Hopefully, I mean, you kind of need this Akers thing to resolve. Jerry Jeudy had a good week. What's that gonna look like? Probably shitty now that Russell Wilson's coming back, but we'll find out. I mean, he needs some of these guys to start performing. He gets Devontae Smith back from bye. Mooney did a little bit, and that offense looked like it had a pulse at least. Dotson, touchdown dependent early, but getting him back and would at least be a boost, right? I mean, same with Waller. You know, he surely can't continue being this bad, right? I mean, he got hurt a little bit, but started off okay, 11, 17, but then down to the fives is rough for a guy you're
I think
expecting to
that
lead your tight end spot.
I think that 5 game was where he first got dinged up, and he's kind of been limping it along since.
Sounds
But
accurate.
you need him to like come. I mean, he's got Hawkinson who's been doing decent, but like you're
You're
you
hoping for
pay
Waller
you
to
paid
be doing Kelsey type things, right?
you paid like I think it was like $50, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like a $50 tight end. You're hoping to be, one of those solid top 3 or 4 guys that you always kind of want to have as a tight end. There's
Give me
never
bad
really
Kelsey
the.
weeks every week, and I'm happy for 50, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so he's got guys that can step in a little bit, but it's not looking nearly as bright for Tyler as it was at the start of the year when it was looking like, oh, you got Akers, you got Swift, you got Barkley, you got Robinson, Waddle, Brady, Rodgers. Oh, this is great. And now it's like, you know, the only team that can give my team a run for, guys underperforming seems to be Tyler. So we'll see what he
But he's got
does.
he's got number 2 running back Barkley. How do you feel about giving that up for a second round pick?
I mean, we'll see who wants to buy. I mean, we know Steven can't pay that, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
Uh,
it'll be
but
interesting.
also, even still sitting at 4-3, even with the loss, he's still second place in his division.
Yeah,
He'd be
we'll
the
take a
fourth
look at
seed
that.
overall in the playoffs.
We'll take a look at that a
Still,
little bit later.
yeah.
Looking at Luke. I mean, Luke finally has another good week. As you said, I mean, 17-point Zeke, Kyler, 17 points. Luke, you should have traded Kyler already. It's Call of Duty weekend coming up. Hope you're ready for single digits for a month. Montgomery did okay. I think he got kind of vultured a little bit with some Herbert stuff. They're kind of getting more of a timeshare, kind of hurting both of them right now. But Hopkins, big return for Luke. 10 for 103 is big. Kind of a shootout game, so we'll see how that looks like in more non-42-point offensive weeks. But good start. St. Brown, knocked out with, I think, ruled out because of concussion protocols, but not
Yes.
actually a concussion. Um,
That's gonna mess with like fantasy a
oh, it's gonna
lot, I
be.
think, going forward, where it's just you have anything that looks like you lose your balance and you're just out for the game
Yep.
is
Komet
pretty rough.
not. I mean, Komet doing Bears things. Benjamin goes off. 23 points. Is he kind of making what's gonna happen with Connor and him? We'll see. But I mean, Christian Kirk was 17. Kind of getting back on the horse. I think he had a good start, right? And then, yeah, good start to the year, 17, 25, 19, and then kind of fell off 8, 2, and 10. So if he can get back to that first couple week, not even that high, if you can get the 15-point Christian Kirk with pretty good.
You're
Fields,
very you're very happy there in that
Fields
case.
with 20, 23. Like I said, they had a pulse. that going to keep up, or was that just fluky? Davis Mills is decent. Gus Edwards looking like he might kind of be the guy here, so that might help his boost,
Uh,
his depth.
he left tonight's game with an
Did he?
injury. Yeah.
Well, that didn't last too long. Pollard,
He did
Pollard's
have
there.
65 yards before he left, so
Pollard's there. I think Zeke's out this week, so Pollard would be a nice start for him this coming up week. Um, you still have Singletary. You got some of these other guys here that can contribute. Um, he's got the mess of Pittsburgh with me with the three wide receivers of Claypool and Pickens, and at least they're performing. Pickens gets a touchdown, 6 for 60. So Claypool 5 for 40. The rest kind of we'll see. So he's in there. He's up to 3 and 4. Jimmy kept rolling.
barely.
Team underperforming quarterbacks number 3. Matt Ryan not much. Aaron Jones finally does something, even though it's in a loss. Austin Eckler tastes him as always. Number 1 running back in PPR. Godwin coming back a little slow, but that team was awful. Tyreek, as you mentioned with Miami earlier, that team just they started off hot and then didn't do jack the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Andrews banged up and just doesn't see any targets at all. That'll be something to watch, is how bad is Andrews banged up this year, because it's been one of the things he's been able to rely on, is big Andrews weeks to help boost his score. So if he loses that for a little bit, could change up the top of those standings. But DJ Moore, as you said, that offense actually looked good. Hope we do something. Lockett, mediocre. Wilson was. Hey, how do you feel about Zach Wilson?
He is ruining Jeff Wilson.
I love it. Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
Jeff Wilson.
Which I was fine with when it meant Breece Hall was going for 20 points a week. Now
James Robinson will go for 20.
Maybe. No, they're going to go with the hot hand was the report today. So it's going to be James Robinson, then it's going to be Michael Carter, and the people who have both of them are going to cry. Then they're still not going to throw, so Wilson will be bad. Basically, it's back to you don't want Jets players for fantasy football.
Stafford and Allen, obviously Allen's beast. They'll get him back next week. McKissick, is kind of dead. With Robinson back and stuff. Got a whole bunch of backup running backs. Marvin Jones did okay. Hollins had a touchdown. Wouldn't count on that. Freemuth, 15 points. They were throwing the ball a little bit, so he's got at least Freemuth to back up Andrews. But as long as he's got Eckler rolling, Jimmy's not dead, right? If he ever loses Eckler, red lights go off.
On the tight end side, obviously Freiermuth is not, Mark Andrews. There's a reason there's 4 guys making like 50 plus on contracts. Or no, well, I guess Andrews was like 30. So there's 4 guys like 30 plus, and then it's just a canyon to like $10. That having that guy that puts up 10 points more than his position every week, missing that's going to hurt if it's an extended injury.
We'll see. Cholo thought he was getting a second win and then gets destroyed. What was it, Sunday night? Sunday afternoon, whatever. Burrow goes for 40. Kamara gives you 17, which is big. Edmonds, I think Edmonds is dead. I think that's over.
The two dropped receptions, it should have been free completions that could have just won Cholo this matchup.
Yeah. Bateman, gets hurt. I don't know if he got hurt in the game or not. I think so, right? Whatever. I remember, he's kind of there. I know he's hurt this week.
He left
tonight.
Tonight's game too.
I can't remember if he left last week. Ayuk getting, finally getting some of that hype that we had seen preseason with Trey Lance, or 15 points. He's been kind of putting on the last couple of weeks, 28-15. So if
it helps in that game that the Chiefs were shellacking them, where they're down by 15, 20 points, and they just got to keep throwing.
He's been having a better connection, so I think he's one to watch.
He's just eating depot points.
Right.
You're just making them both kind of tier 2 guys instead of
better than Ayuk as a tier 4 guy. Hurst getting 10 points. Schuster gets the long touchdown to boost his score, but nice week for him. Keenan Allen back, but not really back yet. Still taking it easy, I think. Garoppolo with an okay game. Lawrence with another solid game after a couple down ones, I think. All right. He had 24 last week, so weeks before that were real rough. So Connor was out. See what he does when he gets back. Other than that, I mean, Mike Boone's on IR, backup running back, useless wide receiver. Sutton still figuring out what that offense is. KJ Hamler, you're probably hoping gets traded. Like maybe he has some value. We've been talk there. Tony,
Or even if Judy gets traded, which has also been rumored, then Hamler can kind of take the number
yeah,
two
do
role and at
something.
least be more valuable. You just
Tony,
need one of those Denver receivers to get traded.
right. Tony out in Kansas City. It's gonna take a couple weeks, but that might make him actually useful to you. Out there, AJ Green. Yeah,
Bef-
okay.
Before he was a head case, Tony looked. He had like that monster week,
He had 2 big
then like
weeks.
got hurt, and then was it 2 big weeks last year? Like yeah,
Or
so
one big week. Yeah,
he
the
had one
30-point
decent,
week.
one big week, then like got hurt in the next game, and then
Mm-hmm.
kind of became a head case, and then nursed injuries. So the potential's there. I mean, that
So
any receiver in a Mahomes offense,
right.
except apparently Sky Moore. But
So Cholo needs it. I mean, he's got to figure out what he wants to do. We'll talk about that in standings more. And then final week, Steven, puts up another big week, 156. Dak, okay. I'll give him a pass, still coming back. Chubb with a decent week. Mixon with a solid week. I know Mixon might be on the upswing with Chase out. You know, might get more usage. McLaurin had a solid game thanks to that touchdown. Mike Evans doing Mike Evans things. Everett solid for, you know, a non-top tier tight end.
he's like tight end like 7.
Yeah, he had a couple big ones. 7, yep.
He's just been. He just gets enough touchdowns out of Herbert to keep it. It's a guy that's good this year, but if you're looking like long term, where you might see some touchdown regression
Yep.
in future years, but
Mostert clearly taking over that backfield and doing something, so that's helped Steven a lot. Um, the Tyler Boyd lottery once again working out. The only 2 weeks he started him, he's got 20 points out of the 7 weeks. So, go ahead, keep starting him. We'll see how that works for you.
kind of. Well, I mean, now with no Chase,
Now it might actually work
that actually becomes legit. I guess that was something you didn't comment on going through before. With the Chase injury, Higgins should become a lot better
in
for
theory.
you.
We'll see.
Um, in
Yeah, maybe
theory,
I just get one 50-point receiver instead of 2 guys combining for 60. It'd be great. But CEH, got to figure out what that's going to look like. Um, Not the CEH of week 1, week 2, I think, where you're getting 20 and 15 the first 4 weeks. I think you're kind of single digit CEH now. But, I mean, he'll get Hurts back next week. That'll be big. Andy Dalton's looking pretty solid, um, this week. We won't talk about the other ones. But, I mean, DJ
he's
Dallas,
the
I mean,
starter going forward in New Orleans.
he's
So
got something. I mean, you get Cup back next week. So, guys, MVS 111 yards on 3 receptions. That sounds like an MVS score line. Peoples Jones got into it. 6 for 6 for 71 is pretty good. Ertz, okay. Taysom Hill, solid. So, I mean, he's still got options. I said with Mostert coming out and stuff, Steven's still gonna be good. And Jody gets another loss, goes mediocre, 3-4 on the year. Mahomes had a big game, but AJ Dillon has been maybe one of the bigger busts of the year. Um,
I
just
really don't know why the Packers just aren't using the 2 running back sets more. Like play to your. I mean, it's
I don't know what
as
they're
I
doing.
harass Packers fans, it's like, well, you did hire a coach who was running the 27th best offense in the NFL when you hired him, but
I don't know what we're doing, but I mean Brian Robinson. I mean the big thing with Robinson, you got to figure out what the heck is they're gonna do with that backfield. Right now they're kind of riding both, which hurts Jody a ton right now.
even riding both, if you get 20 carries while they're riding both, that's not bad.
As long as you turn him into something. I mean it was the Packers rush defense, so. But Jacoby Myers with 11, shockingly with a touchdown though. But they just got shit stomped all game.
Mm.
Mike Evans, good week, except you just lost
Mike,
him for 4 to 6 weeks.
Mike Williams, 4 plus.
Four
Chase is
plus.
the 4 to 6. Mike Williams, they just said like at
Oh, yeah,
least 4.
4 weeks. Yep. High ankle.
So
And high ankle sprain we know is a bitch. Kyle
that's an
Pitts.
out for 4 weeks, and then you're like, well, kind of like Keenan Allen was this week, where you come
Right.
back and you're really not yourself right away.
Yeah. I mean,
So
Pitt's still doing nothing. Devontae, there was 17. I think. I mean, he hasn't practiced the last couple days, so hopefully he's back for him. And Joku continuing to be good. Um, also not practicing, so Jody's starting to run into some injury stuff. Jared Goff, not the Jared Goff of the first 3 weeks. Um, first 4 weeks, and then it's been a little downhill since there. Yeah,
in
Cousins.
fairness, that's also the Cowboys' defense.
Yeah. So I mean, Gibson also had a good game, but Packers defense, rush defense. Yeah. You got Michael Carter if you want to believe in that. I mean, we'll see what he decides to do. Allgeier getting some play until Patterson gets back. Um,
They
Hardman
were
had
kind
a
of
huge
giving him
game.
the they were kind of giving Algier the big role where if you're watching any kind of the fantasy kind of waiver grabs and potential like takeover guys, a lot of them are high on Algier as the takeover there, at least until Patterson
Until
comes back.
Patterson's back.
And
Hardman
then
with
you don't know.
Hardman with 3 touchdowns on, 60 yards. I'm sure that'll repeat.
That's
Um,
got to be like the most efficient 28 points ever in fantasy football. I was looking at that before. 6 touches for 28 points. Like
three
I don't
three
know how to
touchdowns
look
will do
that
that.
up. Yeah, I don't know how to look that up. Like, has someone scored like 28 points on less touches before? But
I'm sure
it's
there's
got to be
been
close.
the classic tight end. I'm gonna score 4 touchdowns on 4 catches for 4 yards. I'm sure that's happened. But I mean, Dulcich, I think there's a lot of hype around
No,
around him
it
right
can.
now with the play he's getting. So that could be
It's
somebody that Jody can trust a little bit tight end, but he's uh he's hurting. He's hurting. So that's the wrong one. So I mean,
it was actually. Oh no, he had too many touches to mess it up. I mean, there was the Kelsey 4 touchdowns on 4 catches, but then he got 3 other catches to inflate his total.
mm,
But he had 7 receptions for 25 yards and 4 touchdowns
so we
a
kind of
few
look.
weeks. But
We start going to the standings. I mean, James, 2 games up on everyone in the North. Looking barring major setbacks. And it's always fantasy football. You never know, but we've got what, like 6 weeks left of regular season, something like that. 7? I don't remember when playoffs.
7, week 14, so 8 to
15.
14.
Yep. So 6-1,
So
two game back
this is
gap is big.
this is the halfway point basically.
Yep. So I mean, 2 game lead, pretty big. Injuries could change it, but I mean he's scoring a ton. And you look at the rest of this cluster, right? You got Tyler's got issues. T Wells has issues. I've got issues. Um, I wouldn't. James is maybe the only good team right now, and he's not a perfect team by any means, but might be good
Division
enough in the
division of
division.
life.
Yeah, it's just kind of a cluster. Like I said, I think any of the people in this bottom four here could sell easily. Tyler's talked about it. Um, T Wells has looked at it. I've looked at it. No one's really came to me, but it's one of those. There's always a
I,
Derrick Henry to sell if I need to.
I think kind of everyone everyone in that middle, that 3-4 wins, is just like hedging both ways.
Yeah,
Like,
looking
do
looking
I
for
sell?
value,
Do
right?
I buy? Like, which which way do I go? Can I see how the next couple weeks go and be ready to go one way or the other? You basically got, James, Jimmy, and Steven are they're pretty set that if they're doing anything, they're buying. Either they're buying
Right.
or standing still. They don't really have. It's part because like this week was murder for injuries across like the league. Not a lot of people have depth that's extra they could sell off. So like you're either buying or you're sitting if you're them, and then everyone else is just in this mosh pit in the middle.
I think it's all value proposition now, right? I could easily sell, but if I'm talking to Tyler and get a deal where I think the value prop is right, I may buy and see where we can get to and maybe get somebody out this year and get some value for next year. Cholo, I don't think is going to do anything because it would require him to actually respond to something. So far that hasn't really been the case. So I don't know what to expect there. Looking at the South, Jimmy and Steven taking off at 5-2. It's gonna be a battle for who gets the bye, and the other team's gonna be really disappointed. But then, I mean, you got a 2 game gap down to Luke and Jody. Both those teams are pretty flawed, just like the middle group in the North Division is. And then you got you down there with 3 games back of your division lead, but only 2 games back of the playoffs. Their game back of the playoffs, sorry.
I'm
So
coming for that 6 seed, so the 3 seed doesn't pick me.
yeah, I mean we'll see. It's right there now. So um,
It's
as you
the
said, it's gonna be a
next.
messy deadline, but it's good. Yeah, the next 2 weeks are gonna be telling.
hmm Do we got? Do we have any like key matchups here? Me against Cholo. Luke's got James, Jimmy and Tyler,
Yeah, I mean
Jody,
there's
Jody and T
I
Wells.
think that
That's
Jody
actually
T
probably a
Wells
big
one.
one to pivot, yeah. And
I
then
mean,
you and Steven.
yeah, I mean
So, like,
you need to come out and beat. Mine. Steven probably wins. I'm probably going to 3-5. If I win, that's amazing. But
it's the
unlikely.
60-point Higgins, man.
Yeah.
Higgins is gonna set the league scoring record
Hey, it's
for you.
that's how it goes against Steven. Gotta drop 60 on him.
He could
Um,
just drop that like 90 that he dropped like 2 weeks ago for you. 88.
that'd be nice. Yeah, the Luke and James one. I said Luke really needs another W. Yeah, the Jimmy Tyler one once again. I mean, that's projected close right now. But you really need to get your win over Cholo. If you lose that one, life is looking pretty dire. But that Jody
hmm
T Wills one, if Jody wasn't kind of in a lame duck year where it doesn't make sense to sell, you'd kind of say whoever loses this is probably selling. If T Wells loses, Kelsey's on the move is maybe the most valuable contract or like guy to sell contract length aside, right? You know
Yeah,
I
you're
don't I
you're
don't think you could
expiring
even make
guys.
up a situation where you have a more valuable expiring contract.
Nope.
He's just that much better than everyone at the position in a scarce position.
He's Where does he actually in the top scorers for the entire seat or top? Let's go flex. Not let's get quarterbacks out of here. He's the fifth highest scoring fantasy football player, not excluding quarterbacks right now. 140, 147, 30, 32 points ahead of Andrews, who just got hurt, and 62 points ahead of Ertz for third.
Yeah,
Like,
it's.
you're
I mean,
through
I'd
7 weeks, he's 80% higher than third place. Like, that's just insane.
yeah, we'll see
So
what he can
then,
get for value. I mean, we know that Steven's never getting him. Like Steven doesn't have enough to get that. Period.
yeah,
Um,
T Wells, if you consider trading that for a third, I will give you a second to not trade it to
Kenny
for
will,
a
Kenny
third.
will break his rule on not overbidding on a agreed upon deal just to do
No,
that.
if it gets accepted, I will not bid on it and I will let it go. But for the love of God, if you watch this video and you're going to trade him for a third, which I don't think would happen, like
No,
I
I've
doubt that would happen.
I've heard the
But
rumored price. It's not a third. Um, but yeah, I mean that'll be changing if somebody makes that deal. It could change the tide of things significantly for this year. So we'll see. I think, as we said, the next 2 weeks. I think there's gonna be a lot of holding this week. I think a lot of the trade chatter is probably dying down as everyone's now in the middle here. So, but
I said I've had a little bit kind of both ways, both on the sell and the buy. Um, some of the sell I kind of started having before this week when I won, when I saw how bad it could go. But yeah, I've kind of hedged both ways, see where people are at or what they're thinking now, and kind of go. I wouldn't expect to see any deals in the next week, at least that I know of, as people kind of wait and see what happens. Then
yeah,
after this week, how things shake out. But you could even after this week, I wouldn't be surprised because even if you, with how the matchups like line up, worst case scenario, other than like me and Cholo, no one can really be more than like one game out of a playoff spot. I don't think.
yeah,
Even if you're at 3-5, like I don't think you can be maybe 2 games at most. But you might just be one game out of 6 still, where you still got a shot at seeing how week 9, week 10 go, and go from there.
yep. So we'll see how things go. But until next time, everyone. See you then.